Hello Stampers, Kelly Acheson at stampabove.com coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin. Today for my Friday feature video, I am super excited because not only are we going to make this card using a sneak peek from Sale-a-Bration, but we are going to use the Stamparatus. I'm going to show this to you. Now, you can reserve your Stamparatus no later than December 30th. December 30th, the reservations are closing after that, and you will have to wait until June to get it. If you reserve it before the end of the day, December 30th, you will be able to get your Stamparatus as soon as they arrive in the warehouse, and I think they're expected around March 19th or so. So let's get started, and I'll tell you some fabulous things about this amazing tool and also some really good tips about this cute little card. So I'm going to start here with my cardstock layers. I always like to do that right off the bat so you know what dimensions you're working with if you want to recreate this card, which is my hope that you will. I have a card base here that is 5.5 by 8.5, and this is berry burst. I've scored it and folded it at 4 1/4. And then I've got a layer for the inside that is 4 by 5 1/4. I've got a layer for the front. This is Whisper White, and this is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I've got a black piece that's just 1/8 of an inch bigger, so that's going to be 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Boy, that math was hard. I did that right in my head. Winning! And then I've got a scrap of berry burst cardstock. So I'm going to get the card elements ready first, and then I'm going to bring in the amazing Stamparatus. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I am using the Layering Circles framelits. You know, I've used these a ton of times. These are amazing. You get scalloped ones and regular circles. And they're all kind of like little nesting circles. I'm going to run this through the Big Shot and I'll be right back. I've got the Party Panda stamp set. This little stamp set is just adorable. And it is one of the free stamp sets you can get during Sale-a-Bration, which starts on January 3rd. So when you place a $50 order, you can choose a free product out of the Sale-a-Bration brochure, and this is one of the free ones. I am going to take out 2 of these cute little pandas, and I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus. All right, you guys, this thing is so cool. I've had a little time to play with it. So the really cool features are that we have 2 windows, and there are numerous ways you can use these. It comes with a pad. You're going to use this pad when you use the clear rubber photopolymer stamps, and you can see the clear rubber photopolymer here. These are the red rubber stamps, so we're not going to use this pad today because these have extra cushion on them. So I am going to take my Whisper White layer and I am going to, whoops, first thing we need to do is we need to get the magnets out of the back. And here's one of the magnets. Now, one thing you want to be very careful of is that your magnets do not snap together. So you don't want to get this magnet close to that magnet. And I've had some pretty good luck with not doing that by just using one magnet. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to place my paper right here, and I'm using the grid lines to make sure that it's straight in here. And then I'm going to take my little panda and put it right where I want it on my cardstock layer. And I think this is going to be perfect. So I'm going to close my lid, and now I have picked up this panda. I just want to make sure that you can see that here. So there's my panda on my imaging plate. I'm going to ink that up with my Memento ink pad. Now, one of the coolest things I've noticed so far while using the Stamparatus is sometimes when we have very bold stamps, we may not get enough ink on them so that they stamp a really solid image. And by using the Stamparatus, all those problems are going to be gone. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to give it some pressure. Do you see what I mean here? Let me pull this a little closer. Do you see how my image is not quite solid on the black part of the panda? Well, that used to be a problem because I would turn this over and start again because I do not like that. I want my images to be nice and solid. So I'm simply going to ink up my panda again. And because it's going to stamp in exactly the same place, I can get that perfect black image that I want. So there's, wow, number one. I love that. You're gonna see that again when I work on the balloon. Okay, so first things first here, I'm gonna pull out a little smoky slate and I'm going to just barely open it up here and push that lid down so I get some ink inside the lid. And I've got an aqua painter because if you guys have watched me, you know that I don't like things to be sitting out there in Neverland like, how did they get there? So I like to just put a little bit of ground below my panda. And I'm done with the smoky slate ink. Now we're gonna do our balloon. And what I would normally do with my balloon is I would stamp on it and then put it on my layer and cut it. But because I've got the Stamparatus, I'm going to place my balloon where I need it. It's covering up the little balloon that's here, so I've just got a great big balloon here, which is kind of cute. I'm going to adhere that to my layer, and I'm going to trim it off. And I'm hoping to make like a whole rainbow of these cards because if you saw my sample at the start, it was Lemon Lime Twist. And now this one that I'm doing is Berry Burst. So I hope to have a whole little rainbow of colors here. I'm just going to trim this off from the back. And if you have watched me for very long or been to my classes, you know I always say stamp first, punch later. Stamp first, die cut later. With the Stamparatus, we don't have to do that anymore. We can put our card together and then stamp, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Now, to clean my little panda off here, I'm just going to take a wipe. And I'm going to wipe them off and set them aside because I'm done with that one. And I am going to bring in another one. Oh, I've got this one that I'm going to use later, this little cutie one for the inside. Now I'm going to come in with my big words from Lovely Inside and Out. I love this as an accent set. You can use it to stamp up a whole card, but I like to use it in combination with other stamp sets. So I'm going to pull out my hugs and my sending you, and that's what I'm going to stamp on my balloon. And I want my hugs to be right about here, and I want my sending you to be just above that. So these are actually going to fit together. If they didn't, I could put my sending you on a different plate, but I think this is going to work just fine. And now, since I have my card all put together and this is my first run, what if it doesn't work? What if it's not straight? What if I don't like it? I'm going to bring in my imaging sheet from my Stamp-A-Majig, and I'm going to lay that down here, and I'm going to do a test run before I actually ink on my cardstock. So it doesn't matter that this is not inked up all the way. I just want to make sure that this is going to look good on my balloon. And it looks like my hugs is a little crooked here. And I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but there's grid lines on these plates so that you can line stuff up to be straight. And it looks like my end of my hugs needs to go down just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to wipe this off and I'm going to try it again. And now obviously this is going to be fabulous if I wanted to make a bunch of these cards, right? There we go. And I think that looks pretty darn good. Now, One other thing is I'm seeing my sending you is really far away from my hugs. So I'm thinking that I want my sending you to be all by itself here so that I can get a little closer. And obviously, because of the rubber, I can't get it as close as I would like it to be. So I'm going to test run this one more time here. And I am going to ink up my hugs again. I'm going to stamp that on my imaging sheet. And now I'm going to come in with my sending you. And I'm going to put that a little bit closer. That wouldn't fit in there with the rubber, right? I'm going to put it a little bit closer right there. And now I'm going to bring in my other plate from the other side and see what that's going to look like. So let's give it a test run here. Perfect. I love it. Okay, so now I can get going on this. I'm going to wipe this off. I'm going to take out my imaging sheet. Put your magnet back down here. One thing I found is that I just left my cardstock laying here and I stamped with this, and I don't recommend it because it moved a little bit when I went to pick up. Like, I stamped and it moved a little bit, so you want to definitely use your magnets to keep that secured. So here we go. And again, remember I said when you have these bold images, sometimes they don't stamp like all the way. Do you see, can you see in here that this is not like a solid black image? So I can just ink it up and stamp it again and see, is that solid enough? I think it could be blacker. And I'm going to stamp one more time, and now I'm going to have that perfect image. Perfectly black, solid. Doesn't look like I didn't have enough ink on my stamp. It's perfect. Now I'm going to go over here and gently ink up these tiny little words. And this is another cool thing. This is even pressure. Do you know how when you stamp tiny things, sometimes you push on them too hard and they get splotched out and they look, I don't know, kind of gunky? You're not going to have that problem anymore with the Stamparatus. Perfect every time. I love this thing. Okay, I am done stamping my images on the outside of my card. Now I'm going to bring in my inside layer because I would like to stamp the other little panda on the inside, because you guys know that I like to decorate the insides of my cards, right? Here comes that little panda, and I think I would like that little panda to be right down here in the corner. So I'm going to set it right there. I can leave this stamp on here. I can leave this stamp on here so I can make a whole rainbow of these cards. I am going to take out this plate and I am just going to turn it over, and I'm going to put it back in the hinges. Here comes our little panda that I'm going to ink up. Here we go. And we're going to give that some good pressure. And again, because of the solid image, oh, I just smeared it. I stuck my finger right on it. Let's turn it over and do it over. Ink that up. Going to close it. And I want to ink it one more time so that my panda is good and dark. And there we go. And I'm going to come in here with my in color markers, and I'm going to color in that little heart so that it matches my card. And then I didn't put an inside in my lemon lime twist color card that I made, so I'm going to do that right now because I've got this all set up and I can. So I'll show you this one more time. I'm sorry that my table's probably bouncing around. I'm super excited because when I was at my mom's for Christmas, we went up to Minneapolis. She lives a couple hours from Minneapolis. So we went up to Minneapolis. We went to the IKEA store, and I have a new table for my stamping studio coming. So I'm hoping that this jiggling will stop when I do videos and I'm, you know, inking stuff up. I hate the bouncing camera. And I'm gonna color this one in with the lemon lime twist that's in the in color markers. And now we're gonna put our card together. Super fun and easy. I'm just gonna set this aside and we'll assemble our card. Must have a little clog in my glue bottle because it's not coming out very much, but it's coming out enough that I can get it on here. This is gonna be so cute. I love the Berry Burst one. I did have a little clog in there. There we go. And that just tiny, tiny black border around this white layer really makes it pop. I'm gonna put this one on the inside with our Boo Boo one on the back. Nobody else see that. There we go. Isn't that cute? And I thought this would make a really nice get well card with this cute little panda. Next, to put the stem on my balloon, I use the Fox Builder punch, and I'm just gonna punch out this little piece right here, which is actually the mask for the raccoon. So I've just got that little piece, and oops, got flying glue, people. I'm gonna put that right here on my balloon stem. I wanted to add a little bow to bring out that black accent on here. So I thought that baker's twine would be a nice addition. And by the way, the circle framelit that I use is almost 3 inches. It's like 2 7/8 inches. So that's how big my balloon is. I'm going to take a little mini glue dot and I'm going to put it right, I squiggled it up because baker's twine is so small. I'm going to put that right on here, and I have one more thing. Oh, actually, I have 2 more things. I said we were done with the smoky slate, but I lied. Unintentionally, it was an unintentional lie. I want to just give him a little bit of ground in here because I don't know, I'm just funny about that. Pretty silly, right? It's those little things that'll drive you crazy. But I do have one more thing to do here. I have some tiny little googly eyes, and I thought, how stinking cute would that be to have googly eyes on this panda, as long as you're not covering up his eye patches. So you want to put just a teeny weeny little dot. And these little sticks, these are little skewer sticks that I cut down. And what I did is I took this liquid glue and I put a dot of it, like a good sized dot, to fill the whole end of it. And then I set it in a little cup and let it dry. That makes a little sticky tool. So you can use that to pick up sequins, or in this case, these tiny little eyeballs. And it works really good. You don't have to buy anything to help you out with this, because I know these are really hard, especially if you have nails. They're really hard to hang on to. Or maybe if you don't have nails, they're hard to hang on to too, I'll tell you. There's nothing worse than messing around with these tiny things and having to fumble all over the place, right? And as long as I have an inside made for my lemon lime twist one, I'll get that in here right away. These are so cute. Super, super cute. The last thing that I did was I added some of these black sequins. Now this is our metallic sequin assortment. And I just felt like my card needed just a little bit of bling, just a little something else. I'm going to put 3 little glue dots down there, and I'm going to take my sticky stick again, and I'm going to pull in some black sequins out of that assortment. And I really like the fact that you've got white and gold and silver and black in here, and even some iridescent ones. So you've got a really nice assortment, and you can use them for, you know, use whichever one you want for whichever project you're working on. I need to find one more round one. There's one. Right there. Isn't that little tool cool? I really like it. Oops, let's make sure I got that on the glue. I think my glue dried. Hang on. We don't want our sequins falling off. And it's just easier to handle these too if you have this little tool. There we go. I'm going to close this up before I spill it. If you've ever done that, you know how fun it can be. And here are our 2 adorable cards. Absolutely love these. Please go, if you're watching this video on YouTube, I want you to go to YouTube. Right underneath the video is a description, and you'll see it says show more. When you click on show more, you're going to find a link for you to reserve your Stamparatus. Remember, December 30th is the last day to be able to reserve this. All you need to do is click on that link. It's going to take you right to my store where you can reserve your Stamparatus. They are $49. Now, reserving them, while you do have to put in your credit card information, you will not be charged for the Stamparatus until Stampin' Up! Sends you an email that you have to confirm. No charges on your credit card. Stampin' Up's going to send you an email saying, your Stamparatus has arrived. Do you still want it? And at that time, you're going to say, yes, I still want it. Your card will be charged when it leaves the warehouse on its way to your house. Or you can just say no or ignore the email and nothing will happen and you will not be charged anything. But I can tell you, I am going to be showing you some fabulous stuff with this tool, and you are definitely going to want one. This is going to change everything about stamping. I have barely scratched the surface with this thing, and I am already so impressed. So I encourage you to go reserve one today in my store. And if you watch a few more videos and decide it's not for you, you will not, you know, no harm, no foul. You will not get charged for it. You don't have to fulfill your reservation. But I want everybody to be able to get this if they so choose. Now, if you don't do your reservation by December 30th, these are going to be coming out in our catalog that I think it goes live June 1st. So you'll be able to order one there, but you'll have to wait, you know, 6 months until June. So that kind of stinks. Anyhow, make sure you click down here in the bottom corner and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any videos that I have coming out in the future. Make sure you check out my blog. You'll find up in the right-hand corner, you'll find my blog address. And if you don't have the current catalogs or the Sale-a-Bration brochure, and you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, if you have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, please contact them to get these mini catalogs and brochure. But if you don't have one, I would love to earn your business. You pop me an email at kelly@astampabove.com, and I would be happy to mail you all of our current catalogs so you can have them in your hands. There's nothing like a hard copy that you can sit down with a cup of tea or coffee or cocoa and snuggle up in a blanket. I'm talking snuggling because it's like 16 below zero here in Wisconsin right now. There's gonna be a lot of snuggling up in blankets going on. But you can snuggle up and take your time looking through all the beautiful projects and products that we have available. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes with me. I sure do appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Bye-bye.